Alright, we're back for another Dokkan Battle video, and in today's video we are going to be doing the team guide for the LRSTRUI Goku's EZA event. Very, very valuable with this. Obviously, we get 30 stones for 9th year anniversary, if you're going to save your stones for those banners, which most of you probably are. Also, we get some orbs, we get some Kais, you know, the usual from these EZA events. And then we get the EZA medals for LRUI Goku. Now look, LRUI Goku, really, really, really good. If you have him in your box right now, and you don't have him awakened, link leveled, his super attack is like 1 or something like that, it's definitely worth putting some time into those things to get them, well, you know, link leveled, awaken him, level his super attack up, whatever you don't have with him, just because he's really good with his EZA. So then once it does release, you can just grind the EZA event, get the medals, EZA this guy, and then bam, you got him, because he is very good. I'm not going to go into many specifics about his kit, but they just built upon what already made him crazy. He's got that 70% chance to dodge, so they just made his stats a lot better. Technically, he's a support. He's got really good super attack effects. Overall, just a great unit. And also, he's on some teams that are getting massively buffed for 9th year anniversary. Like superheroes, Universe Rival Saga, stuff like that are going to see some major buffs with a lot of EZAs, with the new units getting released, and this guy fits perfectly next to a lot of those EZAs and new units getting released that I just mentioned. So, a really good EZA that you're going to want to make sure you have, just because he's in a very good spot in the game right now. I'll say that. Not only in terms of his kit, but in terms of his teams. So I guess I can stop glazing UI Goku. The weakness for his category is Universe Rival Saga. I mean, it's like I said. The teams that he has are going to get really good for 9th year anniversary, one of those teams being Universe Rival Saga, but they're not really good right now. I would say on Global, it's kind of a crappy category. I mean, we got Ribrianne, Kale, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess Dokkan Fest androids, they might be pretty solid as well, but overall, I'm not the biggest fan of this category. I guess we can pull up the androids. They're a really good lead. Obviously, they lead tournament participants, which most Universe Rival Saga units are going to be on, if not all of them. So, using them as a lead and bringing them in here, it could work. You know, they support tournament participant category allies as well, so they're good. I mean, they're not, like, insane, but also you got to keep in mind it's an EZA event. Doesn't hit that hard. It's not going to be that difficult, so that's one good unit you could bring as a lead. Or if you just want to throw them on the team, there's not a whole lot of good options on this category, so just to throw them on there, it definitely would work because they're not bad by any means. It's just, in difficult events, they don't really hold up. But again, it's an EZA event, so that doesn't really apply here anyway. Next up, we got Blue Kaioken Goku. He leads Universe Rival Saga straight up, so if you want to run him as a lead, you definitely could. I mean, yeah, he's going to be fine in here. He's got some restrictions to Universe Rival Saga, but obviously that's not going to matter whatsoever because you're going to be running a full Universe Rival Saga team. Good super attack effects. He's stacking, but you're not going to be able to make a whole lot of use out of that because, of course, you're only really going to turn 5, 6, 7, so you're not going to be able to get a ton of stacks with him. I guess, you know, he's going to be good in here. I don't really know what else to say. He's a high damaging unit. Defensively, he sucks, but that doesn't really matter in here. So bringing him on the team just as a unit, not even as the lead, would be pretty beneficial just because it's kind of a glass cannon. So if you just want to throw him on the team so you can hurry up and kill the enemy, that definitely would work. But if you got to run him as a lead, you can make it work, right? Next up, we got Tech Hit. So this guy leads Universe Rival Saga, but he does have some restrictions to Universe 6 category allies, which is a little bit more difficult to get if you don't have some of these units. It's not even like you need one of them. You need pretty much a full Universe 6 team. Well, not saying you need, but it would help him out a lot if you had a full Universe 6 team. That's not impossible. I mean, you've got a lot of Universe 6 free-to-play units. You've got Kale and Kenkifla right here with their EZA. They're pretty good. We'll talk about them more in a minute. You've got Dokkan Fest Kale, a lot of Kales, a lot of Kenkiflas, just as their own standalone units. You've got some Kabas as well. So you could make it work, but you have to have these specific units. So if your box isn't that big, this probably isn't the best option for you, but if you only have good Universe 6 units and not a lot of these other Universe Rival Saga units, this is probably the route you're going to have to go down just to beat this EZA event. But with all the buffs activated, you know, this guy can be pretty good. He's not insane. He's a older EZA. He's like 3 years old at this point. So compared to some of these other units that we've gone over, he doesn't really hold up as much. But, I mean, still, it's an EZA event, like I said, so it's not going to be that difficult. So he should be pretty alright, at least. Next up, we got a unit that all of you should be bringing. Okay, so he doesn't have his EZA yet, right? He gets his EZA for part 3 of the 9th year anniversary, but he has type advantage, he's on the category, and he's an LR. So he's going to be doing a ton of damage regardless. He's got crits and additionals built in. So overall, he's just a great unit to bring in here. Not really a whole lot else to say. He's going to be linking well with a lot of these other units, but I guess that doesn't really matter because everyone pretty much is going to be linking well with each other. You know, they all have like Fierce Battle, Tournament of Power, stuff like that. So most of these units are going to be pretty good next to all these other units just because they all have somewhat similar link sets. But yeah, this guy's overall just a decent unit. I mean, he's not insane before his EZA, but he's going to be good for this EZA event just because he kind of fits the criteria for this EZA event, right? AGL, so he's got type advantage, he's an LR, and he can do some relatively good damage. Also, if you got to run a Reps Universe 7 category, let's say you're missing a lot of these other Universe Survival Saga units, or you just have a lot of good Reps Universe 7 units you want to run that are also all on Universe Survival Saga, you could run him as kind of like a sub-team, I guess, and use him as the lead. So it's another little thing you could do there. Next up, we got Kale and Kenkifla, another unit you pretty much guaranteed want to bring on the team. They have type advantage. They're a somewhat modern EZA. They're like a year old, and they're an LR. So they're going to be doing a ton of damage. They are a stacker. They get better as the fight goes on, of course, not even with them stacking, but they build up in their kit. So you're not going to be able to see their full potential in here just because, again, these EZA events aren't really going on for that long. However, they're still good enough, right? I mean, they're still going to be fine, especially if you want to run some other Universe 6 units. Obviously, they get more stats. Not that you need that, because just with them having type advantage and being an LR and being on the category, they're going to be doing a lot of damage. But if you want to make them that much better, you can prioritize some Universe 6 Join Forces or Pure Sands category allies on the team, which you're probably going to have. I mean, look at all the Universe Survival Saga units and think about how many of these are on either Join Forces, Universe 6, or Pure Sands. A lot of them are, so that's not really going to be that difficult. So definitely a good unit with them. Next up, we got LR Ribrianne. Yeah, I mean, you know, she's got some Universe Survival Saga restrictions. She's decent. That's it. She's an orb changer, so I guess that's good. Everyone hates Ribrianne, though, so I don't want to talk about it for too long. I kind of forgot this unit existed before this video, and I want to keep it that way. So we're just going to talk about her for a couple seconds. Yeah, she's good. Good super attack effects, orb changing. Okay, moving on. So now we got Kale. Dokkan Fest Kale, type advantage on the category. She's not an LR, so she's not going to be doing a ton of damage. However, defensively, she's going to be more than capable. And also, because she's still got type advantage and she's on the category, she's going to do a solid amount of damage. And if you do have some other Universe 6 category allies with her, you know, she's going to look that much better. Especially when you go into Super Saiyan 2 Kale, then she's going to look really good with her guard, with all of her additionals, all that. But the condition behind it, it can be starting from the 4th turn with a Kenkifla on the team. So again, if you've got these other Universe 6 category allies with her, it's just going to help her look that much better because then you get the transformation, and then the transformation is really good. But then if you don't have that, you got to perform 6 supers, which is going to be pretty difficult. So you're probably not going to get this if you don't have a Kenkifla on the team. But anyway, next up, we got Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta. So this guy, yeah, I mean, he can do some solid damage. Once you go into Evolution Blue Vegeta, so I guess after you've transformed with him, or when you get his active skill, he's good, I guess. Yeah, I mean, he can do some additionals. He can build up the crit chance. So if you're getting all of these supers, it's going to be a decent amount of damage that this guy's doing. But, dude, a rare chance. It's only a 15% chance for his additionals to become supers. So I really doubt you're going to be doing that much damage with him majority of the time, especially because you're only getting this very, very, very rarely. Like, you have a 40% chance to do it starting from turn 4. Most of the time, you probably won't even get to turn 4. Well, you might get to turn 4 somewhat frequently, but there's going to be a lot of fights where you don't. And then once you get to turn 4, it's only a 40% chance to evolve. So I don't really think you're going to see it that often. Not saying that he's bad without the transformation into Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta, but he becomes noticeably better. And because this guy is kind of an older EZA, the only real reason you'd be running him is because he's got type advantage and he's on the category. And I guess he can be somewhat solid if you get really lucky with your RNG here with all the supers that he's doing, because then the damage can start to add up. So he has high potential if he's doing all these additionals and crits and all that, but most of the time, I mean, you know, he's probably not going to be that crazy because it's just RNG. But after all, I digress. It's an RNG-based game, so, you know, he can still be pretty solid. Finally, we got this free-to-play Android 18. Now, she does get some buffs when there's a 17 on the team, so you're probably going to want to run another Android 17 with her. I mean, you could make that work. Not only is there another free-to-play Android 17 right here, who I don't have pulled up, but I guess we can talk about him for a second. They got their awakenings and all that at the same time, so they're meant to be ran together. So if you want to use them as a rotation, you could make that work. Yeah, these guys, I mean, technically this is an Android 17, so then she could get the restrictions from them. MVP 17, he's got type disadvantage in this event, though, so that's why I didn't want to bring him up, but technically that's an Android 17 you could run on the team. And then I think that's it. I don't think there's any other 17s. Oh, well, I guess there's Team Universe 7, but is this Android 17? Yeah, it is. Okay. So, yeah, you could run them on the team, and you would get that as well. I guess they're worth bringing up. They can be pretty good if you're running a Reps Universe 7 team, but if you've got a lot of these Universe Survival Saga units, it might not be the greatest idea to throw them on the team. Or if you've got a lot of these units that are on Universe Survival Saga, but not on Reps Universe 7, then running this guy on that team might be a little wonky because then you're missing some of these buffs with him. So if you are running a full Reps Universe 7 team, definitely consider throwing him on the team if you have him. And then that's pretty much it. I mean, there's other options you could bring. Could you bring LR Jaren? Yeah, he's an LR, so he's going to do more damage. Could you bring Evolution Blue Vegeta? Yeah, he's an LR, so he's going to be doing more damage, but kind of just depends on who you have in your box. I think some of the options I went over were a good balance of units that you're probably going to have, units that you kind of need to bring if you have them, and then some free-to-play options that all of you can bring if you have them, or you could just go grind them up, right? So anyway, that has been the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what your Universe Survival Saga team is going to look like for the LRUI Goku's EZA event, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.